Also developing abroad tonight, the U.S., the U.K., Israel, all saying Iran attacked an Israeli-managed tanker, raising more questions about what will the Biden administration strategy for confronting an increasing hostile Iranian regime, besides forcing South Korea to give them $7 billion as they now enrich more uranium than ever. And will Biden ever hold the communist Chinese government accountable not only for the virus, but their threats of attacks against American military bases, Japanese military bases, their attacks against pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong, and of course their claim of reunification with Taiwan. Joining us now with more, Fox News contributor, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Let me first start with the virus. They're not held accountable. Now you read these emails. Now we knew what this lab was doing, and now we know that taxpayer dollars went to it. Your reaction?
Yes, well, we've known since I spoke about this, at least in the spring of 2020, that this virology lab was almost certainly the place, Sean, that this virus came from. And we've seen the deep cover-up, right? It continues to this day. They won't let anybody in to do the investigation in a proper way. The Chinese Communist Party is responsible for allowing people to travel with a known, very contagious virus, one that is very lethal, and they put it across the world. This is incredibly reckless, and they've got to be held accountable. There's lots of ways we could do this. It doesn't appear the Biden administration is going to head down any of those paths. There are many tools without any further legislation that the Biden administration could use to hold the Chinese Communist Party accountable for the millions of deaths around the world and the billions of dollars in lost wealth that resulted from this Chinese foisting of a virus upon the world.
Something you'd never let happen. Then the Chinese are lecturing our current Secretary of State on the issue of human rights. That's rich. I know you would never let that happen. They're threatening U.S. military bases, Japanese military bases. They're lecturing us about our planes landing in Taiwan, our ally country, and they're talking about reunification with Taiwan. Would that be how you describe any military effort in the China Sea?
Sean, it's not remotely how we approached making sure that we put real pressure on the Chinese Communist Party, and in particular with Taiwan. In our final days, we authorized MQ-9 Reapers to be sold to the Taiwanese so they could defend their country. We did the same thing with F-16s. We made clear we were going to continue freedom of navigation efforts up through the Strait. And when the Chinese spoke of reunification, well, that's just false. It was never part of China, and we didn't allow them to use that language without confronting it. We have to be serious about these things, Sean. You know this, right? When you're weak, you beget risk. You create real risk because your adversaries believe they can walk all over you. When you're strong, when you're clear about the words you use and you're prepared to back them up, as the Trump administration always was, when you're prepared to back up the things that will secure American freedom, your adversaries take note of that.
Mm-hmm. And then we see it with Putin, don't we, with the ratcheted up cyber attacks, with his territorial ambitions, with a greater military presence on the border with Ukraine. And what we reward Putin with a summit. We reward Putin with a waiver so he can build a pipeline while we cancel our pipeline. We force our allies, South Korea, to give $7 billion to the Iranian mullahs as they are enriching more uranium than ever and involved in these attacks against Israel. I'm concerned overall, Mr. Secretary. I've never seen it this bad, nor have I seen our enemies and enemy states more emboldened.
Well, you began with the discussion, Sean, about Vladimir Putin and the summit and the pipeline. Those were clear indicators that we weren't going to confront Russia in the same way that our administration did. And the others noted, right, whether it's Chairman Kim in North Korea or it's Xi Jinping in China, they can see weakness and they will literally try to drive a truck through it. And you began the moment with the talk about Iran, right? They've now killed a Brit, killed a Romanian, attacked a ship at sea. They've launched rockets through their proxy Hamas into Israel from the Gaza Strip. And we're still sitting at the table trying to negotiate a nuclear deal with them. This is crazy.
It's insane. Yeah, we need the adults back in power, because I know you wouldn't do any of these things or allow any of these things to be happening, nor would President Trump. Thank you. We appreciate it, Mr. Secretary. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.